Hello, guys. Hope you're having a strong and powerful day. And today I have a new video series to kind of come out with. There's going to be a few episodes in this, but it's going to be equipment for strongman events, and then it's going to be geared for beginners. So recently I just came from a trip where I was working overseas. I got to meet a lot of great powerlifters and strongman, but one of the powerlifting friends I worked with was AJ Sharma. And he made a suggestion in terms of you should come out with a YouTube series in terms of what equipment beginners should wear when it comes to strongman events. So thank you for the inspiration, AJ. So I'm going to start with, for this particular video, overhead pressing. All right, to start off the episode, we're going to start with the king of implements when it comes to strongman. So we're going to start with the log. So from the bottom up, so with shoes, preferably, I like heels. You get a better angle when it comes to the clean. You get a little more drive when it comes to overhead. So when you really load up that bend and to transfer all that power overhead, I feel like you get a little more power in the heels rather than a kind of a flat foot or a different type of shoe. So individuals like myself, Mateusz Kieliszkowski, who's another great presser from Poland. Of course, the greats, Adrunas Safikis, current great right now, Luke Stoltman, and then even other individuals like Hafjord Bjornsson will often wear heels when it comes to pressing the log. But you also have notable exceptions like Lesky Novikov, that's kind of in a trainer, maybe a mix between a flat and a heel, a little more kind of like a CrossFit shoe. And then you also have individuals that wear exclusively flats, like a Zach McCarley, an Iron Bibby, a Bobby Thompson. And usually I think it just really depending on preferences and body types. Some body types are going to respond better to heels. Some body types are going to respond better to flats. But more often than not, I think kind of the heel is the way to go when it comes to the shoe wear. So working up, when we talk about knee sleeves, surprise, surprise, I prefer my SBD 7mm. The thicker of the two knee sleeves that SBD offers, but they also are pretty thick and of course keeps my knees pretty warm and does give me some stretch reflex, especially coming out of the hole when it comes to a log clean and also on the bend. I've seen, of course, you can wear any type of sleeve when it comes to like wraps, so like a knee wrap on there. I've tried that. It can be kind of restrictive at times. So I generally say if you need a knee sleeve, I would say if you need something around your knees, you should go with a knee sleeve. When it comes to belts, I said there's generally kind of a few different options. You have a soft belt. You can wear like a hard belt, like a lever belt. Sometimes there's also the combination belt. Preferably for myself, when it comes to log, I struggle cleaning wearing a stiff belt like a lever. So usually I'm in a soft belt, but I would say that there's different ways you can do this, but obviously what is preference for you when it comes to cleaning the log. So if that's going to be a combo belt between a soft belt and a hard belt on top, if it's just purely a soft belt or if it's just purely a lever. So I would try the different areas and see which one works for you when it comes to cleaning the log. When it comes to elbow sleeves, there's also many different types. You have the single ply sleeves, a double ply. You even have like just the small cuffs around your elbow if you're having some soreness, which can also be great for on the log. It gives you a little more kind of pop and a little more tricep extension help when you're trying to finish the lift. When it comes to wrist wraps, there's generally a different type of wrist wraps. Usually you have like a stiff and kind of a looser wrist wrap. Preferably, I like the looser wrist wrap. But again, different athletes prefer different things, but wrist wraps is generally a pretty good way to go. And then the last thing when it comes on the log, and this is, I personally, I don't like to wear compression shorts. They can give you a little more pop from the bottom if you're using that like stretch reflex to really kind of stand up at the hole and really throw your hips. However, it really depends on your style. If you like to split jerk, it can be a little kind of restrictive in terms of getting your feet out. If you have a moving medley and you got to move around, it can be a little restrictive. But for instance, maybe if you're just standing in one place and you're doing something like a Viper, it might not be a bad idea. But compression shorts, usually I go without, just so I can be a little more athletic, the waist below. So when it comes to axle presses and axle cleans, I personally will wear wrist straps, but I generally will lose the elbow sleeve. Elbow sleeves can just be a little more, again, they do kind of prop you up, but especially in that rack position for an axle, it can make it difficulty to have that right rack position. So generally I lose the elbow sleeves when it comes to axle presses. When it comes to the actual belt that you might want to wear, I will go with a soft belt just because with the clean, generally I see like hard belts, you got to clean around the hard belt. So generally you'll hit the hard belt, and if you go too far away your body, then you might be in risk of like hurting your biceps or hurting your forearm in a sense, because it's optimally you want to keep that bar as close to your body. So particularly I like to go with a soft belt in this case, with knee sleeves and things around the knee. It's pretty much the same. Keep it to a knee sleeve, and shoes, I'm particularly in heels in this fashion. When it comes to the dumbbell, again, I'm very, very similar. I still have my wrist straps, my elbow sleeves. I will go with more of a stiffer belt. So I'll go with that combination belt with a soft belt, and then like a hard lever belt. I use my SBD lever belt usually on top. And of course, again, same with the heels, and then of course with the regular knee sleeves. On the block, it's interesting. So if you're doing like a block press, I'll probably keep everything in the lower body the same, so the belt, sleeves, and heels. But I usually lose the elbow sleeves and wrist straps. So on the block, since it's so condensed, a lot of the time when it comes to getting a good position, especially within your wrists, it helps to have that flexion. It helps to have that mobility within your wrists. So great. This was a tip that was passed down to Travis Ortmeyer, to Anthony Deal to myself, that he had them when they're out competing out in Russia and back in 2021. Ortmeyer had Deal lose the wrist straps because it was constrictive on the actual block, and he was able to hit some weights that he was missing before. So I think that was a kind of and that's what same thing I did when I went to attempt the world record press. I lost the wrist straps and elbow sleeve just so I would have a better position. Usually the block is going to be a little lighter compared to like an axle or log, especially on the high end. But just given that it's so dense, having the flexibility in the wrist is super important. So that covers the first four main, I would say, implements. You also do have things like a Viking press or a Safian yoke press. In that, I would go pretty stiff. So you would have your knee sleeves. You would have maybe your hard combination belt. So you would have maybe a lever belt on top and a soft belt on bottom, and then elbow sleeves, and then wrist straps. You might want to go maybe a thicker wrist straps if you choose. So when it comes to all this equipment, this is what I usually run in competition or on big sets in training. But there's a certain amount of work that you want to do with that equipment, especially in the off season, especially even getting ready for a contest, even warming up to big weights. You don't always want to be fully geared up, maybe have 5 or 6 different things on going into training. So usually it's good to always work things beltless, so you can really build a core. It's good to work things without the wrist strap, so you can really build the strength within your own wrist. So something, especially if you're doing something, get to something like a block per se, right? You want to be able to have that wrist strength without just having the wrist straps all the time. Some individuals like myself, I always wear knee sleeves. Of course, my knees have taken a pounding over the 10 years. So I do like to wear the knee sleeves, but also for myself, there's times where I'm doing either other training or a little more lighter training. I do without knee sleeves, just so I can also kind of build the strength without the knee sleeves and not having that compression or not having that support at times. So I would again, that's the general combo, but we don't always want to be fully geared up all the time for every rep, right? So we want to usually, when we all geared up, that's for the competition. So I would say that's mostly my video for today. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to the channel. My coaching content is below. I have a few programs out for overhead, so please check those out. I have a few instructional videos, especially in the log, if you'd like to kind of check that out to really improve and refresh your technique going forward for a big log summer. And if you again, if there's any other videos you'd like me to cover, please comment down in the comment section. But until next time, stay strong.